So what we have for you today is the Carrera 144. As is common with these models, we have our vehicle toolkit underneath the passenger seat. Your engine battery is located underneath the passenger floor, and the bonnet release is on the end of the dashboard. Fuel filler gap. Using the ignition key, put the key in, turn the key anti-clockwise, and the cap should come out. And below that, you've got your AdBlue system as well. Carreras don't come with a spare wheel, so you get a reflation kit, which consists of a gel and a compressor that you can use even for just monitoring tyres as well. So the bonnet release is centrally located. Pull up on the yellow tab and it should release it, and then your bonnet stay up. Over on the extreme left hand side, you've got your screen wash. These new Series 8s don't come with power assisted steering that's hydraulic, so you only have reservoirs for your radiator and your brake fluid. Oil filler cap. The dipstick is now monitored electronically and is displayed within the vehicle. And then should you ever need to jump start it, then there is a plastic cowl that you just lift away. Positive goes onto that blade just there, and when you unscrew this little nut at the top here, you can apply the negative and jump start the vehicle. Located externally on the driver's side, you have a external shower point. So there's a shower fitting kit that plumbs into there and enables you to use that as a cold water feed. Further along, we have our toilet cassette. Unlock the door, push buttons in. With the blade shut, you should be able to pull up on the orange lever, slide the whole cassette out, extend the neck, take the grey cap off completely, and then press the orange button in to let the waste out of the base. For the Highlands, as always, we recommend that you use green chemical, so it can either be the chemical or the sachets or the pods, mix with about 2 litres of water, and then slide the cassette back in. The flush water comes directly from your onboard freshwater tank. Down under the vehicle, on this side, you've got your wastewater outlet. This is controlled by a solenoid switch, which is in the kitchen cupboard. The fresh water is operated on the opposite side in a similar way. So the solenoids at the moment are in the open position, so that's indicated by the red light, so it's allowing the water to discharge from those tanks. If you take the switches through 3 positions down to the base, then you will see an amber light come on, and that closes the solenoid. Having closed the solenoid, you can move the switch back into a rest position, and that prevents it from being knocked on or knocked off. And then alongside that, you've got your mains hookup. So attach your lead by extending the cap upwards and then slide it into the side of the vehicle. At the back, on the passenger side, you've got your external gas barbecue points. This is feeding from your internal cylinders. The fitting is there ready for use to go onto your device, and you can connect up. Your freshwater inlet is located just behind the sliding door, so with the key vertical, you should be able to pull up on the cap and you can put your hose pipe in. There's an option of putting in a 12-volt submersible and obviously filling your water system in that way instead. You have an electric sliding step which will retract on ignition. You have the fold-out table which can be brought down like so. And then on the sliding door, you've got your fly screen. Use 2 hands to operate it in and out. Above the sliding door, when you come into the van, you've got a 12-volt control panel. So when you press the center switch, all of your lights immediately illuminate. And that includes the heating system, just to demonstrate that it is up and running. After a few seconds, some of the lights will fade back, and we can go through the sequences that you will see. You have on the bottom here a tank heater, so in colder weather, any exposed tanks underneath can have a small electrical feed into them to keep them from freezing. You have a separate switch for your water pump. It's bleeping because at the moment the freshwater tank is empty. You have a levels indicator which will give you the condition of both batteries, your engine and habitation batteries, as well as your fresh and grey water levels. You have a master switch for the interior lights, which we can also control on that separate switch there, and then an additional one for the outside awning light underneath the rollout awning. The water heater and room heating systems are gesture controlled panels. So when you wave your hand over the front of the panel, you'll see a slight illumination. You can use the plus symbol to set your water temperature either to approximately 40 degrees, or if you wanted to shower, onto a hotter setting. You have the choice of using either gas or electric. When we choose the gas, you will see that the flame goes blue. That indicates that the gas system has been selected. When that goes to an amber, it indicates that it's powering up and it's operating on gas. Similar story for the electrical system, a choice of outputs. So either a 1, a 2 or a 3 kilowatt, depending on the number of lights that are illuminated. And again, when it goes to an amber position, it means that it's powering up and it's using the mains electric. You have the option, of course, of using both the gas and the electric together. You might occasionally see a little red exclamation mark appear, indicating that it's a fault. Perhaps you've turned the control panel off before turning on the water heater, for example. You can reset the panel by using the on-off switch at the base. Hold it in for a couple of seconds and it should remove that indicator. To shut the system down, deselect your settings. You can bring the temperature back down for a frost position if you so wish. There's that indicator switch just there. Otherwise the whole system will just shut down. For the room heating system, it's also gesture controlled. You can increase the amount of electricity, again, that's being used on the main side of things by selecting on there, and when it goes to an amber, it indicates it's powering up. You have a temperature variance, which you can utilize using the plus and the minus, all the way down to a night setting or a frost setting, and again, potentially the option of using the gas. So again, as we've said to you before with the water heating system, when they go to amber, it means that it's powering up. So shut the system down, deselect, and the system will switch off, and eventually the amber light will fade out as well. The 12-volt fridge in this is 12-volt controlled. Press and hold on the central button for a couple of seconds and you should see the Dometic symbol appear. You can manually control the temperature on the fridge by choosing two different methods. You can go to this position where you'll see that the symbols are slightly greyed at the bottom, and you want to select the rising bars on that side, and you can go up into a user mode and you can put it onto a performance mode where it will work at a maximum output to cool the fridge. You can put it into a quiet mode for overnight use. It just reduces the noise from the compressor, or a boost mode if you're operating between the two settings. Bring the dial back to the return menu and it will take it back to the main performance. With all of the displays illuminated brightly, you should be able to choose the actual thermostatic setting, and you can increase or decrease the thermostat accordingly. When you want to switch off the fridge, press and hold on the button for a couple of seconds and the whole display should go dark. For the makeup of the double beds, you will need to remove all of the top cushions. There's a couple of release bolts on either end of this front plinth, so pull those away, open up the whole frame, extend it out, pull firmly on the sliders so that they connect over onto the opposite side. Take your backrests and, take the base cushions I should say, and face down, place them down. Centre cushions go into the middle. Other backrest cushion again goes face down so that the triangular wedge is going towards the edge wall, and then your remaining centre cushion goes in like so. It gives you a nice flat mattress. Underneath the bed box at the back, you've got your mains, RCD control, and also 12 volt systems. You can isolate the entire 12 volt system and turn it off by pressing that system shutdown button. That also prevents any charge coming from the vehicle battery through to the leisure battery when you're driving. System needs to be turned on for any of the 12 volt functions to work. The fuse board. If you see a green light towards the end, then it means the systems are operational. If a fuse is blown, which I will illustrate by pulling this fuse out, you'll see that there's a corresponding red LED that will illuminate up to show you that there's a fault. As soon as we put the fuse back in, it should clear that fault. Mains LCDs over on the opposite side. All the switches are up and on at this moment in time. You can turn the main supply off. You can also do a mains test by bringing the main switch forward, carrying out that test sequence, which isolates the main supply and tests it, and then come across on the individual switches. Lights at the top will give you an indication that your battery charger and that the room heating system is on. There's a separate white isolator switch for the water heating system. And you also have a reverse polarity indicator if you're travelling on the continent. Television aerials located above the cooker. You have a white rose wheel that you can unscrew slightly and then push the aerial up. There's an indicator on the back that shows you that the aerial at the moment is horizontal. In some areas you may require to use the dial and turn it to a vertical position. For travelling, you need to make sure that it's back into the horizontal position and that the aerial is brought back down firmly and the wheel tightened. There is a separate on-off switch on top of the amplifier. Green light obviously meaning that it's on or off. For the front bed arrangement, you'll need to push down on these tabs to unlock the table. Lift it up to about a 45-degree position and bend leg over. Rotate the driver's seat around by pulling out on the side lever on the seat. Bring it all the way around and then push back against the steering wheel. Drop the table down onto the lower bar position. Take out the backrest cushion, and there is a small rectangular insert that goes into the gap. There are two larger rectangles which are joined together on their end, which go into the forward gap, and two smaller blocks which go down behind the backs of the seats to fill out the gap where the seat belts go. For the gas operation, having connected up your cylinder in the back, you should be able to turn on and use your igniter. So it's a push down automatic igniter and you'll see a flame come up on the burners. Make sure that the flame is fully extinguished and the grill has been closed off before you draw down on the lid. For the cooker, if you turn the dial in one direction, you will turn it to the grill and you use the igniter. If you turn it in the opposite direction, it becomes the oven. There is also a rotisserie plate function on this one as well. So when that switch is selected, it will activate, and you also have a separate switch for your oven light also. At the end of the kitchen unit, you have this pull-up extension. So take hold of it firmly, pull the whole thing forward. You'll see that there's two square slots for the stays to go back into. Line it up, and it gives you then your table extension like so. Lavatory operation internally, you have a seat which you can lift up, and then you have a slider control which opens up the main valve, lets the waste go straight through. Flush water is drawn from the main onboard tank when you press in on that blue button, so you need to make sure that the water pump is switched on as well. You'll get an indicator light coming on around this symbol, which tells you when the cassette is full and needs to be emptied. Slide your lever back over It stops any smells or odours from coming back up through, and you should also be able to withdraw the cassette at that point as well. Folding sink, just basically gently push it back against the bulkhead or put it forward accordingly. So with these automatic vehicles, you can start with your foot on the brake pedal and turn over on the ignition. If you hear a long continuous tone, it could indicate that you're still plugged into the mains supply. Over on the right hand side, you've got your electric mirror controls, which you can utilise to adjust your mirrors using the joystick. All 4 mirrors are adjustable, and you've also got your electric window controls there as well. The blinds for nighttime use can be drawn up and brought around and then locked down into that position there, and then 2 hands and you should be able to draw up the front blind all the way to the top, and it should lock into position like so. Over on the right hand side of the steering wheel, you've got your headlamp beam adjustment as well as your fog lamps and the ability to turn the auto start stop off. The right stalk is for your wiper controls, turning the dial into intermittent as well as low and high speed controls. And then over on the left hand side, you've got your side lights and dipped headlights, push away for your main beam, and then your indicator controls on the main stalk. Central controls onto the steering wheel include your speed limiter and cruise control buttons on that side, and these are related to the function controls for the stereo as well as your phone. On the back, out of view where my fingers are on both sides, you have one which is for the adjustment of the volume and one which is used for adjusting between the media selections or radio stations if you so desire. Central controls include your ventilation, so you've got your speed of your fan and temperature, as well as your external and internal positions, and then the direction of airflow. You can mute or turn on the stereo on and off, and then the passenger can control the volume control on there as well. You have your ASR, which can be disabled, as well as your hazard lights. USB and 12-volt sockets will come into play when the engine is running. And you also have an additional media point underneath for plugins. Glove boxes, one on the left hand side and one on the top as well. This one being connected up to the air conditioning, so you can use it as a cold spot too. Drop on the central clipboard and pull down on the handle, and it can be used for holding other media, including mobile phone devices, or just being a conventional clipboard. Adjacent to the gear lever, you have a power mode, so you can choose between using a regular mode, an eco mode, and a power mode. Each will change the performance and the response within the vehicle, improve or reduce fuel economy. When you come back onto the gear lever, you go through reverse and neutral and into a drive. If you wish, you can knock the lever over and you have a plus and minus, and you can manually select and go through the gears like a sequential box if required. Knock the lever back and it will go back into its automatic mode, and then return to park. And finally, we have an electric handbrake. Pull back on the lever and that will engage the handbrake and enable you then to secure the vehicle. So that's your handover for the Carrera 144. Sincerely hope this van's going to give you lots of miles and lots of smiles. On behalf of Highland Camper Vans, thank you very much for watching.